I can't say which one, but it's the worst base in the US
Mhm.
on the
Everyone knows.
south side of the country. It,
Yeah.
If if you've been in the military long enough, you know
yeah,
which
yeah,
base
yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking about.
If you know,
So
you know.
she said, "Well, Carol, you know what?" And she said, I used to work for this practice that was outside of this base, and a lot of the women who were sexually assaulted, they were terrified to report it to their leadership. So what they will do is they would sneak off base and then come seek therapy within the civilian sector. She said, what we
Mm,
can do is we can connect with the practice and see if they'll give us permission to use those files. We need to read their names and the perpetrators' names and all that because we still had to protect their names, their identities, and see if you can do a thematic analysis and see what you find. And so I said, okay. But
To provide a little context there too, just for people that aren't maybe necessarily with military lingo and stuff. When Carol got deployed, especially as a truck driver, it's not every night that you're laying in a
right,
barracks, right? Like you're not in a hotel
no,
when you're on the road. It's not like, oh, we're gonna stop off at the Arby's and the Applebee's and we're gonna crash at the
no,
motel late. A lot of that travel time, especially on longer convoys and stuff, you
oh
can get
yeah,
stuck on the side of the road, which is probably
yes,
more often than not. So there's a lot of, I don't know if opportunity is the right word, but there's a lot of opportunity where things can happen if you're not with the right people. And from talking with you, you were with some great soldiers that were
I was with
very
some
accommodating
amazing
to you.
people. One, Josh, let's go back to what you said about being on the road. I spent more time sleeping in my vehicle and in tents all over Iraq than I did back in Kuwait at Arifjan, which we were stationed at Arifjan.
Right.
So our missions were usually 2 weeks. We had one, maybe two that were 4 weeks. We would come back to Kuwait for 2 days, do the maintenance on the vehicles, do laundry, and then go back on the road. So that was my life. Uh, and so, yes, I did not spend much time in Kuwait, and we spent a lot of time sleeping in tents. In some tents, we slept with the men, but my team was amazing, especially D, James, D Ross, Big D.
yeah, D-Ross.
He was so protective of me. And I think like the men that I was with, I think one of the reasons why is because they were all dads and they were all girl dads. D has all girls too. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why. And even whenever I had to change in the tents, they would make this cocoon for me, right? And then they will go away, make sure that like no one would come in. So I mean, they were just freaking awesome. I had an incident where I did have a guy come on to me when we were on a mission. We were training another unit. We were doing the right seat ride, and so
Mm.
when I mentioned it to them, they jumped on it like that. So I mean, it was just
Yeah.
yeah, and
Do you remember how many people were in like your either section or unit or platoon, and how many of those were female compared
yeah,
to male?
so we were second platoon. We had 50 per platoon, but our squad, I think maybe 10 per squad, but then some of them went to the gun trucks. So it was either 10 to 12 that we had per squad. When we started, I was the only female on that convoy. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
That's gotta be intimidating, even for someone like you who's very confident and, a very strong individual, strong woman. I mean, that's still gotta be very intimidating to be literally in the middle of an unknown country with
yeah.
just a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point,
So so to have those great guys,
yeah,
that's gotta be awesome, and I'm
they're
sure they're out there
awesome.
somewhere,
I
and
I
maybe they'll
we
see this.
over time we had a couple other women on convoy with me. I had one who I'm actually still really good friends with. Do you remember Cook, James? Wendy Cook? We call her Cookie.
Mm-mm. No.
And then it w- and then we also
Have to
had Hall, what's her name, but she ended up getting sick, and I think she only went maybe on 1, 2 missions with us. Um, but yeah, so it was just me for a lot of the missions, and I am so grateful that I was on missions with who I was with, and they knew my husband.
So then you're on this deployment. So you're on this deployment. You're a truck driver at that time, and probably still somewhat a little now. The term IED finder was kind of what an 88 mic was, right? Every time you went on the road, you were basically trying to find, not trying to, but found IEDs. You did unfortunately find one, which
Yeah.
led to your Purple Heart. Why don't we discuss what happened there and kind of what was the trampoline jump from
Yeah,
that to the
so
rest?
I think I'm a huge believer that things happen for a reason. That night, my partner was really tired, and I said, "Well, let me drive. I'll drive that night," which usually, as NCOs, we usually don't drive, right? It,
You guys
mhm.
were a het unit,
Yeah,
correct? So, yep. So NCOs are
yeah,
usually the A drivers or
yeah.
not driving. So
And so we were the lead vehicles